Hey guys, it's Rhama Dashuri, and I wanted to come on and talk to you about one of my favorite topics, death and rebirth. And I want to give you a couple life lessons from my own experience and some spiritual life hacks, if you will, to apply right now, since a lot of us are in isolation through this whole social distancing thing. And I think a lot of this will help you, at least from my own self-isolation. And this is what Jesus did. This is what monks do, right? We self-isolate to then bring the shadows to the surface, because it naturally happens whenever you have less distractions, less places to go, less things to do. And we're all experiencing a little bit of that right now, yeah? So my experience with death, the death of the old you, the death of old habits, old patterns, an old life, old ways, small ways, it's kind of painful. I see memes on Instagram all the time, and it's like, just let that shit go, sis. And honestly, people don't give it as much attention. They don't elaborate enough, because whenever shit really hits the fan, we think that something's wrong with us. We think that we're not spiritual enough, or we're doing something wrong, because our whole process of letting go, our process of letting our old selves die in a way, I don't know how many people are actually real with the humans about that process. And so this is why there's judgment. This is why there's judgment when it comes to the death of the ego or anything else out there, which it's impossible to actually kill the ego, but that's for another video. But this is what I want to share with you. We all ask for change. We all ask for some sort of change. And so now the change is here. This whole pandemic is really just a catalyst to throw us in the direction that we always wanted to go. And maybe you can think of a time in your life where you asked for your life to change, and then maybe you lost your job, or your boyfriend dumped you, or something happened, and it kind of hurt for a moment, because you're like, life isn't actually working. More bad things are happening, but we forget that we asked for something big. And so when change comes, we associate change with us not getting what we want, but we actually are getting what we want, because the change was always just the catalyst to bring us to where we really wanted to be. So with that being said, right now we're just in the eye of the storm. We're in the eye of the storm, and we're coming out on the other side, but a lot of us are experiencing more shadows. And I want to bring this to your attention, to use this time wisely. Use this time wisely. Because what better time to focus on those things that deserve your attention, that you have been ignoring for so long. Life has given us a beautiful gift of stillness. Everything is still for a moment. And it may feel more chaotic at home with your spouse or your kids, and I understand that. But find your peace through your shadows, not running away from it and trying to create your own peace, right? That feels like more control. That feels like I need to do something about my situation right now, because what's in front of me, I don't have control over. So lean into your shadows, whether that's arguments with your spouse or your girlfriend, or it's the chaos with the kids, or it's just your own emotions are starting to bubble up, maybe depression or anger or resentment, judgment, whatever it is. Really focus on your own shadows right now. What are they telling you? Is there something that you've been resenting in others that you haven't yet allowed yourself to have? What lies have you been telling yourself about who you get to be, what you get to do, what you get to create, etc., etc.? So first find the lies, and then shift and tell the truth. But if there's anything that I can tell you about opting in to the death and rebirth cycle consciously, is that it doesn't feel good. But I'm not gonna lie to you, it doesn't fucking feel good. I've thrown myself up in flames multiple times, because I wanted to burn the old layers off. And whenever I thought it was over, I realized it wasn't over. And whenever I thought that I must be so close to it being over, I realized I was just at the beginning. Point being, lean in to your shadows, lean into your pain, lean into your fears, and surrender to them. it's the birthing process analogy, which I've been using a lot lately. Less screaming, less squirming, and more relaxing. Relax into alignment. Relax into the process. Relax into your situation. Like, go zen with it for a moment. And what if you didn't have to fight it? What if you could trust it? What if fear was safe? What if the pandemic was safe? What if you were going to get everything that you could ever want and this was just part of the process? What if? Play into the what ifs with me just for a moment. And that feels better, right? I always follow where love goes. So whenever I think about the fact that fear is safe, I exhale. Whenever I feel like something is out to get me, or there are these evil forces at work trying to hurt me or punish me, that doesn't feel good. And so what I've learned about love is to follow love. Where does love go? Where does love go with my feelings, with my thoughts? And so this is ultimately where these concepts have come from, was Rhama following love and going, well, that doesn't feel good. This feels good. That doesn't feel good. This feels good. So, and I guess here's another gray area of spirituality. Whenever it comes to like what feels good and what doesn't feel good, no, the fire doesn't feel good. But there's something deep down inside you that knows that there's no turning around. You can't back out. You're already in it. And deep, deep down, if you're able to be still for a moment, you can hear that voice that's saying, this has to be for something. This has to be for something. All these shadows, all this pain, all this stuff that's right in my face that I've been suppressing for so long, me looking at it right now, this has to be for something. And this is where you get to use that transformative magic, because this is what we do. Remember, we are spiritual beings in a human body. We get to transform bullshit to gold and green or whatever else it is you're trying to do. You just have the motherfucking power. But to be at your like max, to operate at your highest, fullest potential, that is through your shadows. And this is why you see me online talking about inviting in darkness and letting darkness be one with you in the same way that light is one with you. Like, what if nothing is ever bad or wrong? Like, what if there is nothing out there that's trying to get you or punish you or put you down? The world, like, honestly, that's what's going to save the world. If you thought the world needed saving, which it didn't. Guys, I know that all of us are up in flames right now, whether it's your financial situation, your relationship, your own sanity. It's different for everyone right now, and it feels like a lot all at once. But if you can take a moment to let whatever situation you're in right now truly be, like, believe this in your heart, be exactly where you need to be, and trust all of those things that are coming up and not judge yourself for them. Get rid of all criticism, get rid of all judgments whatsoever that make these shadows or these things that are bubbling to the surface say something about who you are, who you get to be. If you can just let all that go, let the pressure go, let the hate go, the self-hate, the criticism, the resentment, the judgment, the jealousy, let it all fucking go for a moment, and you'll realize that it's all motherfucking perfect. And that it's all working in your favor. And the moment that you embrace your shadows is when they're free to go. Speaking from the girl that has been burned alive multiple times. And of course, I mean, hypothetically, but whether, for whatever reason, I don't necessarily feel fear right now. What I do feel is the fear of the collective, which is why I feel the fear, because I am not separate from anybody else on this planet. And so I can only do what I feel called to do, which is show up and share with you guys my experience. And most of my experiences in life have been a whole lot of fucked up things that I've had to constantly rise from. And so I've gotten used to pain and suffering and fear. And I got so used to it, not to where I was numb from it or desensitized to it, but I became one with it. I use that transformative, healing, magical energy, the power that we all have. I use that to let darkness be a good thing in my life, let the shadows be a good thing in my life. And this is where I learned to just start trusting everything. Like, what if I got to trust it all? What if I got to trust my own anger? What if I got to trust my own jealousy? Like, what if I got to trust those things for a moment and really embrace them, not let it say something about me and go, you know what, Rhama, like, yeah, we're always getting better, but I love you right now. I love you right now with all the things. Like, you're so fucking perfect with all the things that you have going on right now. It's all motherfucking perfect. Something, and I'll end with this, something that I said recently, an event that I spoke at. It's like this prayer that I would say to myself, because I've dealt with the shadow of depression for a long, long time. And I would get into these super long-term depressive episodes. And the day that they really started to become shorter and less often is when I really leaned into it. And I kind of said this prayer to myself. I was like, you know what, Rhama? I love you so much. I love you so much that if this takes the rest of my life, I'm here for it. If I'm in no rush, if this takes every day for the rest of my life, I'm going to show up for you, because that's how deserving you are. That's how worthy you are of my love and my attention and my time. And this is me talking to me and my depression, kind of. And I'm like, so I'm here for it. However long it takes, I'm going to sit with you here. What do you want to do? Let's talk about it. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And there was this feeling of like the burden like lifted off. And it's so twisty. The idea of me having all the time in the world to just take my time. I was in no rush to fix myself. In fact, there was nothing that needed to be fixed. I just needed to spend more time with myself. And in fact, I've got the rest of my life to do that, the rest of eternity to do that. I'm just going to kick back and I'm going to take my time. It took the pressure off. It took all the rules away. And so I was able to really show up in my life for myself in the way that was always required, was always necessary for me to do the thing that I wanted to do, which was really release this depression, you know? And the one thing that I haven't tried is medication. I had literally tried everything else. And this was recently, just last year in 2019, this was something that I discovered myself, because I was exhausted, because I was constantly trying to fix myself. I was trying to fix this shadow. I was trying to fix this part of me, because I'm a leader, I'm a healer. I'm supposed to help other people through their own stuff. I'm supposed to help them elevate. How can I do that when I'm constantly battling depression, right? And that's a good trigger word. What do you feel you're in battle with? Battle feels like war, feels like effort, feels tiring, feels like sacrifice, feels like massive suffering. But what if none of that is necessary? You know, what if I could still feel the shadow without having to have it completely bring me to my knees and change the course of my entire day or my entire month? Like, what if I got to have both? What if I got to heal and show up at the same time? What if my depression didn't have to say something about me as a coach or a mentor or a leader or a woman or a mom, right? So this is what I wanted to share with you guys. I hope that it benefits you in whatever way. I hope whatever parts stuck out to you, you apply them to your life and you really lean into your own shadows and remember that you're so deserving, so worthy. You just get to be fully human and receive all the things at the same time. I love you guys so much. My name is Rhama Dashuri. If you are seeing my face for the first time, you are free to follow me on all the social medias at RHAMADASHURI, and I would love to connect with you further. Stay healthy, stay cozy, stay safe. You are so protected. I love you, I love you, I love you, and I'll see you on the next one.